Rain hammered against the windows of the Empire Luxe Hotel. Ava Sinclair barely felt it anymore. The martini glass trembled in her hand, her third drink swirling like the chaos in her head. 5 years with Ethan, gone in a single text message meant for someone else. The bartender glanced at her with concern, but she waved him off. She fumbled for her room key, vision blurring. The card she grabbed felt wrong in her palm, but she was too drunk to care. The elevator doors reflected her mascara-stained face. Floor 30. Presidential suite. The door clicked open. Marble floors gleamed under soft golden light. The scent of cedar and mint wrapped around her like a ghost of her past. It smelled like Ethan. It smelled like every broken promise. "This hotel is fancy," she muttered, kicking off her heels. She didn't hear the shower stop. Didn't notice the figure emerging from the bathroom until it was too late. Grayson Reed stood frozen in his bathrobe, water still dripping from his dark hair. His gray eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" But Ava wasn't listening. Her glassy eyes locked onto him, and suddenly she was moving, stumbling forward, wrapping her arms around his chest like he was the only solid thing left in her crumbling world. "Why did you leave me?" Her voice cracked. "What did I do wrong?" Grayson's body went rigid. The smell of alcohol hit him, but it was her eyes that made him hesitate. Red, wounded, familiar. He saw Vanessa in those eyes. Not her betrayal, but the emptiness she left behind. "You have the wrong person," he said coldly. But Ava clung tighter, sobbing about promises and lies. Grayson's hand moved toward the phone to call security, then stopped. This girl wasn't dangerous. She was shattered, just like he once was. He pried her fingers away gently. She collapsed against him, exhausted, whispering incoherent words before her body went limp. "Fine, you win." Grayson carried her to the bed and laid her down. She curled into herself like a wounded animal, still mumbling about someone who wasn't him. He pulled the blanket over her and retreated to the sofa. The leather was cold against his back, but he didn't move. He stared at the ceiling, listening to her breathing slow into sleep. He should have called security. Why hadn't he? In the darkness, Ava's face was peaceful, her furrowed brow the only sign of her pain. "Who are you?" Grayson whispered, but the girl in his bed couldn't answer, and neither could he explain. Why he was letting a stranger stay. Morning light cut through the curtains like a blade. Ava's eyes snapped open. Her head throbbed. The sheets beneath her were too soft, too expensive, too wrong. This wasn't her room. She sat up, heart hammering. A white dress shirt lay folded on the leather chair. The masculine scent in the air made her stomach drop. Fragments of last night crashed back. The rain, the drinks, a man's voice low and cold. No, no, no. She checked herself frantically. Clothes intact. No signs of anything terrible, but the embarrassment burned hotter than any hangover. On the table, hotel stationery gleamed. Her hand shook as she scribbled an apology. "Sorry for the disturbance. It wasn't intentional. Thank you for not kicking me out." She didn't sign it. She just ran. Hours later, Ava stood in the glass tower of Reed Empire headquarters, clutching her portfolio like a shield. Today was supposed to change her life. A chance to prove herself as a designer. If she could stop thinking about last night. Ava Sinclair, the assistant, called. She walked into the conference room, heels clicking against marble. And then she saw him. Grayson Reed sat at the head of the table in a navy suit, his gray eyes sharp as broken glass. Recognition flickered across his face, followed by something darker. Amusement. Ava's world tilted. The man from last night was the CEO of Reed Empire, Miss Sinclair. His voice was silk over steel. "Do you make a habit of wandering into the wrong places?" Every face in the room turned to her. Heat crawled up her neck, but she forced herself to meet his gaze. "Only when I'm overly tired, sir. I assure you it won't affect my work." His eyebrow arched. Impressed or mocking, she couldn't tell. Proceed. Ava presented her designs with trembling hands, her voice growing steadier with each slide. Minimalist interiors. Nature-inspired elements. Warm tones that invited intimacy. Grayson didn't look at the designs. He looked at her when she finished. He leaned back in his chair. Are you sure you won't walk into the wrong room on this project? The question hung in the air like a dare. If I make a mistake, sir, I'll fix it. Her voice was steady now, defiant. But I don't make a habit of repeating them. Something shifted in his expression. The corner of his mouth curved, almost imperceptibly. Thank you, Miss Sinclair. She walked out feeling like she'd survived a hurricane. Behind closed doors, Grayson sat alone with his assistant Lucas. She's inexperienced, Lucas said. There are better candidates. Grayson pulled a folded note from his pocket. The handwriting was shaky, sincere. Sorry for the disturbance. I have a feeling about her. Lucas frowned. A feeling? That's not like you. I know. Grayson stared out the window at the city skyline, the note still in his hand. He should have thrown it away. But something about Ava Sinclair had slipped past his defenses, and that terrified him more than he was willing to admit. Hire her, he said quietly, the next morning. Ava received the email. Congratulations, you've been selected for the position at Reed Empire. She stared at the screen, disbelief warring with elation. Then her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Welcome to Reed Empire, Miss Sinclair. Try not to get lost this time. Her breath caught. Grayson Reed wasn't just her boss. He was the man who'd seen her at her lowest. And now he held all the power. 3 weeks of working for Grayson Reed felt like dancing on a knife's edge. Ava sat in the design studio, late afternoon sun casting long shadows across her sketches. Every day he found a reason to stop by her office. Every day his presence made the air thinner. Your color palette is too safe, he'd said yesterday, standing so close she could smell his cologne. Cedar and mint. The scent from that night. I'll revise it, she'd replied, refusing to let him see her rattle. I'm sure you will. Now her phone buzzed. A text from Grayson, my office. Now, Ava's stomach twisted. She grabbed her portfolio and headed to the top floor. Grayson's office was glass and steel.
Ow.
Floor 2 ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. He stood with his back to her, hands in his pockets. Close the door. She did. The click echoed like a gunshot. You've been avoiding me, he said. Still not turning around. I've been working. Sir, don't call me that. He turned, and the intensity in his gray eyes made her step back. We both know what happened that night. Nothing happened. You cried in my arms, Ava. You begged someone who wasn't there to explain why they left you. His voice dropped. That's not nothing. Her throat tightened. I was drunk. I made a mistake, was it? He moved closer, each step deliberate. Or did you end up exactly where you needed to be? What are you saying? I'm saying I can't stop thinking about you. Confession hung between them like a live wire. And I don't know if that's a problem or a solution. Ava's heart hammered. You're my boss. I know. This is insane. I know that too. He was inches away now. Close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his eyes, the tension in his jaw. Tell me to stop, he whispered. She should have. Every logical part of her screamed to walk away. But then his lips were on hers, and logic shattered. The kiss was desperate. 3 weeks of tension, exploding into heat and need. His hands tangled in her hair. Her fingers dug into his shoulders. It felt like falling and flying at the same time when they broke apart. Both were breathing hard. This can't happen, Ava said. But her voice lacked conviction. It already has. That night, Ava lay awake in her apartment, staring at the ceiling. Her phone glowed with a message from Grayson. I meant what I said. All of it. She was about to reply when another notification popped up. An email from Vanessa Reed. Ava's blood went cold. She opened it. Dear Miss Sinclair, I'm Grayson's ex-wife. I think it's time we talked about the man you're falling for. He's not who you think he is. Meet me tomorrow, 2 p.m., Calf Monarch. Come alone. Ava stared at the screen, her hands shaking. The next afternoon, she sat in the corner booth of Calf Monarch. Watching a woman with platinum hair and designer sunglasses approach, Vanessa slid into the seat with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. You must be Ava. Why did you contact me? Because Grayson has a pattern. Vanessa leaned forward. He finds broken women. Women he can fix. Women he can control. That's not what's happening, isn't it? Vanessa's smile widened. He saved you that night, didn't he? Gave you a job? Made you feel special? Ava's throat tightened. He did the same to me, Vanessa continued, until I realized he doesn't want a partner. He wants a project. Someone grateful enough to never leave. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm not the villain in his story, no matter what he told you. Vanessa's voice hardened. I took that money because he was going to destroy me. I had to escape. I don't believe you. You will. Vanessa stood, dropping a folder on the table. This is everything. Bank records, messages, proof that Grayson Reed isn't the victim he pretends to be. She walked away, leaving Ava staring at the folder that night. Ava confronted Grayson in his penthouse suite. Why didn't you tell me about Vanessa? He turned from the window, surprise flashing across his face. What did she say to you? That you're controlling, that you prey on broken women, and you believe her. I don't know what to believe. Ava's voice broke. She showed me documents, Grayson. Evidence that you manipulated her, isolated her, made her think she was going crazy. His jaw tightened. Those documents are lies, are they? Or is this what you do? Find someone damaged and make them dependent on you. Is that what you think this is? Anger flared in his eyes. You think I'm using you? I don't know. Tears streamed down her face. I don't know anything anymore. Grayson stepped closer, his voice raw. Vanessa stole from me. She cheated. She lied. And now she's trying to destroy the one thing I've let myself care about in 3 years. Then prove it, Ava whispered. Prove she's lying. He stared at her for a long moment, something breaking behind his eyes. I can't. The words hung between them like a death sentence. Then we're done, Ava said, her voice hollow. She walked out, and this time, Grayson didn't stop her. 2 weeks of silence felt like drowning in slow motion. Ava buried herself in work, redesigning hotel lobbies with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. Every corner of Reed Empire reminded her of Grayson, his cologne in the hallways, his shadow in every conference room. She hadn't seen him since that night. He'd stopped coming to the studio, stopped texting, stopped existing in her world except as an ache she couldn't shake. Then Lucas appeared at her office door. Miss Sinclair, we need to talk. Something in his expression made her stomach drop. What's wrong? Grayson's in trouble. Lucas closed the door. Vanessa filed a lawsuit, claiming he embezzled company funds. The board is calling for his removal. That's impossible. I know. Lucas ran a hand through his hair. But she has documentation. Forged, I'm sure, but convincing enough to destroy him. Ava's mind raced. The documents she showed me. Probably. She's been planning this for months. Lucas met her eyes. She contacted you to drive a wedge between you and Grayson. To make sure he had no one in his corner when she struck, guilt crashed over Ava like a wave. I walked away from him, And now he's refusing to fight back. What do you mean? He won't defend himself. Won't hire lawyers? It's like he's given up. Lucas's voice cracked. He needs someone who believes in him, Ava. Someone who can give him a reason to keep fighting. That night, Ava stood outside Grayson's penthouse. Her hand hovering over the buzzer, she pressed it. The door opened. Grayson stood there in wrinkled clothes, dark circles under his eyes. He looked like a man who'd stopped sleeping. Ava, her name sounded like a prayer. I'm sorry. The words tumbled out. I believed her. I let her poison everything we had, and I'm so sorry. He stared at her, raw emotion flickering across his face. Why are you here? Because I know the truth now. Because you need someone to fight for you. She stepped closer. And because I'm in love with you, and I was too scared to admit it, his breath caught. You love me? Yes, even when I tried not to. Even when I walked away, her voice broke. I love you, Grayson. He pulled her inside, his arms wrapping around her like he'd never let go. I can't fight this lawsuit, he said against her hair. Vanessa covered her tracks too well. If I go to trial, she'll destroy everything I built. Then don't go to trial. He pulled back, searching her face. What? Let me talk to her. Let me fix this. No. She's dangerous. I don't care. She cupped his face in her hands. You saved me that night when you had every reason not to. Let me save you now. I won't let you sacrifice yourself for me. It's not a sacrifice. Her eyes burned with determination. It's a choice. My choice. The next day, Ava stood in a glass-walled restaurant across from Vanessa Reed. I didn't expect to see you again, Vanessa said, sipping wine. I know what you're doing. The lawsuit. The forged documents. Vanessa's smile was cold. Can you prove it? No. But I have something you want more than revenge. What's that? Ava slid a folder across the table. My resignation from Reed Empire. A signed statement saying Grayson and I had an inappropriate relationship. Evidence that will destroy his reputation even if you drop the lawsuit. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. Why would you do that? Because you'll drop the charges against him. Publicly admit the documents were fabricated. Let him keep his company. And in return, you throw yourself under the bus? Yes. Ava's voice didn't waver. You wanted to hurt him? This will hurt him more than any lawsuit. Losing me and his reputation? That's the revenge you're really after. Vanessa studied her for a long moment. Then she laughed. You really love him? Dumb. Then you're a fool. But Vanessa picked up the folder. Fine, I'll drop the lawsuit. But when he realizes what you've done, when the whole world knows about your affair, don't come crying to me. I won't. Ava stood and walked away, her heart shattering with every step. That night, the news broke. Designer Ava Sinclair admits to an inappropriate relationship. With CEO Grayson Reed, Reed's ex-wife drops all charges, citing new information. Ava's phone exploded with calls, messages. Her career was over then. Grayson burst through her apartment door, his face a storm of fury and anguish. What did you do? I saved you by destroying yourself. He grabbed her shoulders. Ava, your career, your reputation, everything you worked for is gone. I know. Why? His voice cracked. Why would you do this? She looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. 'Cause some things are worth more than a career. Some people are worth more than a reputation. She touched his face gently. You're worth it, Grayson. You're worth everything. He pulled her against him. And they stood there in the wreckage of her sacrifice, holding each other like the world was ending, because, in many ways, it was. 6 months later, Ava stood in a small design studio in Brooklyn. Far from the glass towers of Manhattan, the space was nothing like Red Empire. No marble floors or designer furniture, just exposed brick, second-hand drafting tables, and dreams that felt smaller but somehow more real. Her phone buzzed. A message from Grayson. Look outside. She walked to the window. A black car idled at the curb, and Grayson stood beside it, hands in his pockets. Looking up at her like he'd been waiting his whole life, Ava grabbed her coat and ran downstairs. What are you doing here? I have something to show you. His gray eyes were softer now, the sharp edges worn away by time and truth. Trust me. She took his hand. Always. They drove in silence through the city, rain starting to fall like it had that first night. When the car stopped, Ava realized they were at the Empire Lux Hotel. Grayson, I don't think I can go in there. Just trust me. He led her through the lobby into the elevator, up to the top floor. To the presidential suite, the same room where everything began. Inside, the space was transformed. Warm lighting. Nature-inspired artwork. Minimalist furniture in earth tones. Her designs. What is this? Ava breathed. Your work. Grayson stood behind her. After you left, I hired a private investigator. Took 3 months, but we proved Vanessa forged those documents. She's facing fraud charges now. Ava turned to him, eyes wide. But the scandal, my reputation, is being repaired. He pulled out his phone, showing her a press release. Designer Ava Sinclair vindicated in false scandal. Reed Empire offers public apology and reinstatement. I don't understand. I fixed it. His voice was rough with emotion. I should have done it the day you sacrificed everything for me. But I was angry, scared. I thought I could protect you by staying away, Grayson. I was wrong. Algie took her hands. These 6 months without you have been hell. Every morning I wake up reaching for you. Every night I see your face. You saved me, Ava, and I've spent half a year trying to figure out how to save you back. Tears streamed down her face. You didn't have to do this. Yes, I did. Because you were right that night. He cupped her face gently. Some people are worth everything, and you're worth the world. He dropped to one knee. Ava's breath stopped. I know this is fast. I know we've been through hell. But I also know that the best thing I ever did was not call security the night you walked into my room. His eyes shimmered. Marry me, Ava? Not because I saved you, or you saved me, but because we saved each other. She pulled him up and kissed him, tasting salt and rain and second chances. Yes, 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 yes. The room around them faded. The city lights blurred beyond the windows. Nothing existed except this moment, this man. This impossible love that had survived betrayal and sacrifice, and every reason to fail. There's one more thing, Grayson said when they finally broke apart. What? The studio downstairs. The design department at Reed Empire. He smiled. It's yours. Full creative control. Your vision, your rules, you're giving me your company. I'm giving you what you earned. What you always deserved. He brushed a tear from her cheek. Build something beautiful, Ava, with me. She looked around the suite, at her designs brought to life. Then she looked at Grayson. At the man who'd been a stranger 6 months ago, and was now her entire world. I already did. 1 year later, the Empire Luxe's grand ballroom glittered with lights and laughter. Ava stood in a white dress, Grayson's hand in hers, surrounded by everyone who'd watched their story unfold. Lucas raised a glass. To the couple who proved that sometimes the wrong door leads to exactly the right place. Everyone cheered. Ava leaned into Grayson's shoulder, breathing in cedar and mint. The scent that once reminded her of heartbreak now smelled like home. Do you ever think about that night? She whispered, every day. Do you regret not calling security? He turned to her, his gray eyes full of everything they'd survived. Not for a single second. She kissed him as rain began to fall outside, the same April rain that had brought them together. But this time, neither of them was running from the storm. They were dancing in it. Years from now, they would tell their story. About a girl who stumbled into the wrong room. About a man who chose compassion over control. About a love that was messy and complicated and morally gray and absolutely, undeniably real. But tonight they simply held each other in the ballroom, where everything almost ended. Grateful for every mistake that led them here, to each other, to where they belonged. The end.